guys, welcome to my channel Among Stouts. If you're new here, my name is Samantha. I'm a homeschooling stay-at-home mom of 4 kiddos, and in today's video I have part 2 of my Q&A for you guys. I have just a few more questions to get through, so I didn't want this video, either video, to be too long, so that's why I went ahead and split it in two. So I can tend to be long-winded, so let's go ahead and get right to these questions. Okay. First question, what is the best part about homeschooling with CC? And for me, hands down, it's the community. I absolutely love our CC community. I love that my kids are getting out once a week. Well, we are all getting out once a week and meeting up with our community and having that time. And also it opens up opportunities for field trips and other activities. So that's something that I personally really love about CC. And that's not a knock to the curriculum or anything like that. I feel like the curriculum is wonderful. We really love and enjoy foundations. The information, I love that they give you just enough for your kids to pick up on on a history topic or whatever it is, and then to dive deep in the ones that they're interested in, and then to just move on with whatever they're not. I also love the that they're getting a little bit of all of the subjects, and it's all through memory work, so it's really easy for them to pick up through songs and chants and repetition. I love that about CC. And the Essentials program has been really great too. I don't necessarily love sitting through Essentials, but it works. I will say that one of the things that I'm learning in my second year as a CC homeschool family is that while it might seem super redundant, and while things might seem boring or things might seem any kind of off-putting or whatever, not necessarily off-putting, but it may not work, if you just follow the method and keep doing it how it's already laid out for you, it works. The system works. And so that's something else that I really love about it. So if you're interested in CC, one of the other questions that I had about CC from the same mom is what are the age levels or the grade levels. So CC is something that your child can do from preschool all the way through high school, and even in high school they can start earning college credits. So I would highly recommend, if you guys are interested in CC, to go online to classicalconversations.com. I'll link to it down in the description. Go online and find your local CC community, whichever one is close to you. I know here in my area, because of where I live, I actually have quite a few different ones that I can choose from. But I'm really glad I ended up the one that I'm in. But go online and find your local CC, reach out and connect and schedule, talk to the director and schedule a time for you to go take a tour. But really what you're going to do is your kiddos are going to go, you'll go and see where your local CC meets, what all levels that community has, and then you'll be able to go and take your kids to go and sit in on a CC community day and just to see if you guys like it, if it would be a good fit for you or your family. So your kiddos can go and sit in their age level for foundations, they can sit in for essentials, you can sit in for challenge. So just go online and see where the closest CC community to you, and find the one that has the levels that you need, and definitely go and take a tour and hang out for a day and just see what it's all about. Because I know every community is different in how they do things. So you may even want to check out a couple if that's an option that you have, because there's a couple of different ones around you. Check out a couple and see if any of them are the right fit for you. Because like I said, you can do CC from preschool all the way through high school. So it starts off with foundations, and foundations is what they're doing from 5 until 12. So foundations is from 5 to 12, and then essentials is from 9 to 12. And then once your kiddo is 12 and moving into 6th grade, 6th and 7th grade, you have challenge A, challenge B, and then for high school you have challenge 1, 2, 3, and 4, I believe. And like I said, CC has the opportunity for your kiddos to use those high school level challenge years to apply dual credit for college. So if you stick it out with CC, your kiddo can end up finishing out and graduating CC with college credit, which is really awesome. Okay, so those are all the questions about CC. Definitely check out your local community and go sit in. I have nothing but great things to say about CC and the community that I'm in personally. So just go check it out. You never know until you go. So you can take what I say with a grain of salt. You might go and find someone else who is a former CC family and they left because it really didn't work for them at all. They didn't enjoy it. So it really is, just like with everything, it's personal. It's very individual to you, probably your community. So while I have nothing but great things to say about it, it's one of those things that you're just going to have to go and check out for yourself. So let's see, would you ever put your kids back in public school? And I would like to say no, I would never do that, but I also understand that life happens, and there may be a circumstance that happens in our life to where maybe that would have to happen. But as long as, my husband and I stay healthy and alive, I plan to homeschool. So if there's ever a time where our homeschooling rights are being infringed upon, I will definitely be one of those mama fighting for our rights, because I don't ever intend to put my kids back in public school unless for some crazy reason something happened in life where it had to happen. And even then, I would probably try to still make homeschooling work. Who knows? But you can never say never. So I don't have intentions on ever putting them back in, but I can't say never. And then, how did you and your husband come to the decision to homeschool? Homeschooling is actually something that we had both considered way back when we had my oldest son. We only had 2 kids back then, and he was like entering preschool age. And then we talked about it again as he was getting closer to kindergarten. But it just, I don't know if it was fear or what it was, the lack of confidence to do it. But I was also in school at the time and working, and so it was easy to just put him into public school. And then I eventually ended up working at the school where he was going and where my daughter was going, and we enjoyed that school. And so everything, like, I was comfortable. I was comfortable with the public school that they were in, even though I saw red flags even way back then of like some of the things that I don't like about public school now. I saw the red flags, but I worked in the system, so I working in the system and having my kids in the system, it was just, it was what it was. But then once we moved and, coming here to Texas, and then just, God really put it, like, I was really convicted of homeschooling, and it was really crazy at the time whenever I really was feeling it on my heart to homeschool. I kept coming across all of these different like homeschool podcasts and homeschool parents on Instagram and on YouTube, and the more that I listened and watched all of these homeschool families, the more like of a fire that was lit under me. And I just kept having the open and honest conversations with my husband about it, and really letting him know, like, I'm really serious about considering it. And we talked about it, we talked it through. And then it actually ended up being a parent teacher conference that we went to for our kiddos, where my husband was like, okay, let's try this. So that's what it came down to, is whenever you see the public school, when your kids are already in the public school system and you see it not working for your kids, and you see kind of like the domino effect of the system not working for them, but then they're trying to quickly put labels on your kids, that really affects you. And then whenever you don't see them doing what they should be doing, that really affects you. And so it was kind of a domino effect of everything that we were seeing with the school that my kids were in falling apart, and then us being like, okay, let's go ahead and try this. And so we did that we made the decision in 2019, so December 2019, but my kids were technically pulled out in January of 2020. And then after we pulled them out, it ended up being the best decision, because we pulled them out in January. Come March, nobody was at school anyways, and we already had a little routine going on here at home, and then going into school the next year for 2020, 2021, and doing homeschooling that year, and we joined the CC community. It was kind of an easy decision, and then now here we are again. This is our second full year, so we've done 2.5 years of homeschooling, and the more that we see in media about public schools and all of the different things going on and what they're trying to put into public schools, the books that they're trying to make your kids read, the things that they're trying to teach, we just keep being confirmed in our decision to pull our kids out and homeschool. So that's kind of like how the decision came about, was just seeing it right in front of our eyes falling apart for our kids, and then just having confirmation after confirmation of our decision why we decided to pull them out. So next question, why did you decide to move to the country? I assume it's the country. So we already live in a small town outside of a big city, and the small town is just growing bigger and bigger. And it's kind of always been, when we decided to move from Colorado home to Texas, we both knew that we wanted to be on land. We were thinking like maybe 5 acres and just not having like super close by neighbors. And so that was what we wanted, and that wasn't what we ended up with. We ended up buying a house in a neighborhood where we just feel like we're on top of all of our neighbors, and that was just something that we didn't want because that's what we came from. And we kind of just waited around like, okay, if the right property or the right house pops up, we'll go for it. And we weren't actively looking. My husband got like a notification about the property that we're actually buying, and things just kind of fell into place. Like I said, we were only hoping for about 5 acres. We're ending up with 20. And so this is, I guess it's kind of considered out of the country, but it's now a smaller town outside of the small town that we live in, which is out of a bigger city. So right now we're currently about 30 minutes, well, about 20-30 minutes outside of San Antonio. And that's just, we're going to be more like an hour and a half out of San Antonio. So that's kind of why we've always kind of just wanted to be out and like out of a neighborhood, out of an HOA, and that's kind of where it started. And then over the years we've had like an interest in homesteading and having animals and a garden and doing all of these things, and so that's kind of why we decided to move out there. It kind of just happened because of the property that we're getting, but we have wanted to be further out for a while. Let's see, how did you or do you get your husband to support you in your homeschool journey? Because I feel like because we kind of ended up coming to the decision together, it's helped my husband be super supportive. If I ever need his help with anything, he's more than willing to help me out with getting the kids to school. Like if I'm not feeling well and the kids need to do something, he'll do that for them. If I ever needed him to take them to CC for me, he's willing to do that. He's also the one that funds it all. So he is incredibly supportive. Like I said, we made the decision together, and we are both constantly confirmed in our decision with the things that we see going on in public schools. So it's really easy, I think, for him. It's for him to be supportive of me because it's something that we're doing all together as a family. And when I need his help, he's there. So I think just having an honest conversation with your spouse in why you want to homeschool, and just kind of finding, helping your spouse figure out why homeschooling is important to them as well, and then just finding and trying to get support that way. Did you always want to homeschool? Why or why not? And I kind of touched on this. It wasn't necessarily that I've always wanted to, but it was always a consideration. Like we've always considered it. So, and I think like, again, it just kind of goes back to, I had, so considering homeschooling at first kind of was because I wasn't sure of how one of my kids would do in public school, just based off some challenges that he had. And then when he ended up starting public school, and he did fantastic, and I had no issues to worry about like I thought that I did. It was easy to keep my kids in public school. So that was why we never really went forward with the decision making and beginning to move forward with it. But it has always been a consideration, but not necessarily a want until we ultimately made the decision to homeschool. How do you balance time with homeschool, YouTube, extracurricular, and marriage? So I only do things for YouTube on the weekends or in the evenings. So I film on the weekends and I edit at night. Homeschool is something that we do, during the week. It is what it is. And then extracurriculars, I try to keep all of my kids' extracurriculars to the same day to 2 days, because I don't want to be going out all week, every week, all different hours. So if I can have all of my kids have extracurriculars on, say, a Thursday within the same time, where I can drop one off and then take another one, hang out, and then do the pickup, that's what I prefer. But I also don't mind, like, if I have a couple of kiddos on a Thursday and then a kiddo on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, that doesn't bother me. My issue when it comes to curriculars is I don't want to be out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I don't have time for that. I don't have the space, the energy, or the want to be out like that for extracurriculars. And I mentioned that also in my extracurricular videos. So if you haven't seen that, I'll link that for you so you can go watch all about it. And then as far as our marriage, I touched on this already in the Q&A part 1, but we just have to find the time. So whether it's getting time in the mornings or getting time in the evenings, weekends, whatever it is, it's really nice whenever my husband's parents come into town, because then we can like go on to multiple dates in a row and get time for each other that way. And just always like finding the time and the space. We don't have a whole lot of time. Like, we all have the same amount of time in a day, and it's just how you use your time and how you prioritize your time on how you can fit it all in. So I 100% prioritize like our relationships and our homeschool over things like YouTube and extracurriculars. So I'm prioritizing our relationships, our family time, my marriage, and fitting those into my days all of the time. And then wherever extracurriculars fit, wherever the time for YouTube fits, that's what I do with that. So I just find the space for those extra things after I have already prioritized what I find important. So I hope that's helpful. I hope that answers your question. And then last and final question, was your hubby always cool with homeschooling? And when I first mentioned it to him, he was okay with it. He was okay with pulling our kids out to homeschool. Homeschooling was never the issue with him. I think the biggest issue that he had was me and like my sanity, if we're being honest, and whether or not I could handle like having all of my kids at home all of the time and being responsible for their education and just taking on that pressure of being a homeschool mom. So I think that was his major concern at first. But then whenever I told him like I can do it, and now he has seen me do it, he's completely confident in me. I'm more confident in myself. He also really enjoys that we are a part of a CC community. He likes that. He likes that our kids are involved in extracurriculars where they are. So that is something that he sort of things like the CC community, the extracurriculars, answered any concern he may have had about homeschooling, like how are they going to do this or do that? What about friends? Those things have kind of been answered for him. He has seen me grown confident and comfortable in my role as a homeschool mom as well. So he has been super supportive the whole way through, and I'm really, really thankful for that. So good. Thank you guys so much for all of your wonderful questions. I am so happy that you guys had questions for me. I hope that I answered. I hope that I was able to give you good answers for your questions. I hope that you guys learned a little bit more about us and our marriage and how we prioritize our marriage and our decisions to homeschool and things like that. I hope that you guys found these videos interesting, helpful, and fun. If you guys enjoyed this video, please go ahead and hit the like. And if you aren't already subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and hit subscribe. And just like with Q&A part 1, if you have any questions that you would like for me to answer in a future Q&A, go ahead and put them in the comments of this video, and I will be sure to come back to these videos and see those questions for next time. So I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!